way to describe the tidal wave of euphoria that hits Berlin the night of November the 9th. Out of thin air, thousands upon...
We're going back, but we want a united country. It's only natural.
We just can't believe it.
Arabic, and we have the KDV, Kaufhof des Westen.
The fallen wall.
And what is quite interesting as well is that we have quite a few French words here in the dialect that is due to the So now we are on the most known street of West Berlin, Kurfürstendamm. The idea was to build one of the buildings which stayed untouched by the Second World War, today Commerzbank, there of the Kudamm, the Kurfürstendamm. Memorial Church. And the tower of the new church is at the moment under scaffolding. That is nicknamed the Dead Stick, and the church as such, the new one, is named the Powder Puff. Here on the left. Thank you for changing traffic lights. This way we can take pictures. Yep. Now we come to the area of the Kurfürstendamm, which is more affordable. In the middle, something like that. Geographically, it's simply situated in the west of Berlin. But it was given to the city after the wall came down. Yeah. So, happily for the East Germans, or unhappily, you see the roof of the Sony Center, yeah? Reminds us Mount Fuji, or is meant to remind us Mount Fuji. I can see the glass facade of German Railway, DB. Not go too much into detail. And for our fellow travelers from Canada, you see the iPhone publicity. Left hand side of that is your embassy. Yeah, here you see another flag, the maple leaf. I'd like you to come with me to the reception area to see whether the keys are ready.
20th century. Then of course we know that the First World War taken a tremendous toll of people living inside the distance after the 90s, when these two parts of the city are going to get back to the U1. It's going to be directed and it's going to end up roughly around this area, and it will get by far the most beautiful station built on this location, because you'll probably see a lot of people outside. It's a beautiful day. You'll see people shopping.
As they should.
On your left hand side, the Kaufhaus des Westens. I'm going to drive past it in a moment. Another element that you can see from over here is the Victory column. Also about that I'll explain a bit more. What is there? And now you have a... And he is at home. There we go. So here on your left hand side, Schloss Bellevue, palace with the beautiful view.
Is he expecting it?
Where's that flag coming from? Yeah. Right, the square of the book burnings, where on May 10th, 1933, about 20,000 books were burned by the students of the Humboldt University. On our right hand side we have the famous Opera House, which is now under some heavy reconstructions, and the big pink building on our left is the former Royal Armory, and nowadays the German Historical Museum, and to my personal opinion, one of the best museums that we have in the city. Berlin Cathedral on our left hand side up close, and on your left hand side you also see the old museum popping up. On your right hand side, the building construction sites of the former Royal Palace. This is where the palace used to be, and you can see that there are reconstruction at the moment. I'll be telling what that all is about in a moment. Driving past it, you can see in all of the columns they're pocked with bullet holes. So the entire columns have been still, sort of left. And we can see that we're leaving here Museum Island again, with water on both sides. On your right hand side you can still see the Pergamon Museum, the pyramid at the Louvre. So this architect named I.M. also made the entranceway to the German Historical Museum. Part of the Faculty of Law of the Humboldt University.
DDR for different purposes. Then it became our federal tax office, so this building By the way, here to the right-hand side is the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. They have an excellent entrance to the zoo with the elephants. If ever you get to Budapest, you will see similar elephants at the entrance to the zoo. Ahead of us again the Rotten Tooth, only Waldorf Astoria in Europe. Straight ahead of us is this way. And it's nice to be in such a fancy hotel, but as soon as you step out, you're at the zoo station, train station. Yeah, in front of us a smart car. I also drove for 16 streets, which makes us faster. Victory! Once around the lady. Try to scratch it
I was
off.
gonna say, hey Gary, later tonight when it comes through, wanna come get some money?
Because it would be too obvious. Parliament building, Reichstag. I think it's you who's on fire, but
that later on from upstairs we can see the former city center of West Berlin, of course that of East Berlin. We're going to talk about the air.
well, maybe I have no television.
No, there was not.
Guck mal, hier auf den Fotos kannst du immer gucken, ob du das findest, das hier abfotografiert.
Yeah? Had a good time? Themselves, and they come together several times to discuss this. First at the conference in Tehran, then at the conference in Moscow.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't watch it enough, but I know who you mean, yeah.
Yeah, 1933 and 1934, when people don't want to find out how worse this can get. 1933 there, and the reason for that is they wanted to prevent at all costs that neo-Nazis would come here, right-wing radicals would come here to glorify their long-lost leader. We're going to get out of the coach in a moment. We're going to get off. Make sure you have your audio devices turned on, because I will talk.
I shouldn't think so much for the...
You need several places where you can control who goes in and who.
Of money from other royals. We didn't mind giving, mind you, and their eldest son and heir to the throne, just past the pedestrian traffic lights. That's where you can see the line of cobblestones running from left to right and vice versa. And here to the right, these are in fact some original pieces of Berlin Wall, which were placed there in connection with to the left our Bauhaus archive. But if you were to risk looking right, looks quite spectacular, as it always does from here. Anyway, now, and that in itself, I would say, is a pretty good reason for the fact that their marriage remained childless. But let me also tell you that there are 4 most persistent for a man to be gay, and Frederick's younger brother Henry openly lived such a life. So one wouldn't know really why he wouldn't have admitted to it. A third rumour says that he simply wasn't that into that sort of thing. And the fourth rumour says that Frederick was unbelievably promiscuous as a youngster and reproduced like mad, only that these were given to them. Right, everybody, just so that you know, all the exquisite shops are now appearing to either side of us, as we have now reached the exquisite. Is an excellent thing to do. By the way, in April of last year, just shortly before 10 a.m, a Golf crashed straight into Hublot, the jewellers ahead to the right. Everybody thought, oh my goodness, what a terrible accident, so that you know. But this sort of thing never happens normally over here, so everybody was absolutely stunned by those 2 robberies in such post-war buildings that were erected over here after the war, because of course they really are far from exquisite. But here to the right, number 70 along Ku'damm is the narrowest of all corner buildings. And now let me tell you about Frederick the Great and the Petriot. And it is extremely hard to imagine that something so terrible should have happened somewhere so beautiful. And now to the right you can see the Wannsee, and if you look to the very far right, on the opposite side of the embankment, you can in fact see a golden strip of sand. Actually, it's not as golden looking because today it is inundated with more bodies than sand. But that is the artificial beach over here, the Bath at Wannsee, and there's a lot of sailing going on as well. Of course, if they had been raised according to Christian belief, you know, it was obviously held. Everything happened all out in the open. That was totally not the case. The Nazis were paranoid about being found out because they were fully aware of the fact that if the North was obsessively intent on wanting to sit inside the garage, in the car, listening to the radio, and then taking them into the depths of the woods where they then directed the exhaust fumes into the backs of the trucks. And as I'm sure you can imagine, these poor people took ages as clean as possible, obviously. But, of course, they had no other evidence. Adolf Eichmann had managed to be tracked down by the Mossad, because, of course, he had made it as far as Argentina. And that's where he was brought to Israel and put on trial.
Dann die Kurz into concentration camp Sachsenhausen in the year 1943.
The entrance over here, and now past this gigantic linden tree to the right you'll get a glimpse of this enchanting little palace. And remember when I told you that until we get to Glienicke Bridge we'll be in former West Berlin? Well, that is about to change, because straight ahead, that is it, Glienicke Bridge. As I told you, it used to divide West right now, if you'd like to drink in this architecture, here to the right, this gorgeous villa, next to the right, one of the first ones to have been restored here in Potsdam, because just before the traffic lights, on the right-hand side of the road, a West Berliner called Günther Jauch. He's actually a fantastic journalist, but also he is the host of the German version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That was King Frederick William III. Well, he had all these Russian prisoners of war, and 62 of them had formed a choir which enchanted the king to a degree that once he'd formed an alliance with Tsar Alexander, the child had to be a boy, so that only applied to 12 of them. And to this day, the descendants of these choir members inhabit the Alexandrovka houses. In this case, as is written on the light plaque below the balcony, it's Ingeborg Zalotsky, and until a couple of years ago, it was still her father, who was called Horst Shishkov. Only 2 of these families are the Alexandrovka house over here. There it is. And now, let me tell you that we are on our merry way. Replaced about 4 times since it was built, because it had the bad habit of burning down. And of course, Frederick the Great used to like to play with, decided to actually have it torn down. And I told you earlier on that Frederick the Great actually altered the laws, so he, according to the myth at least, there is no evidence that this happened, made it leading up to the Court of Honor over to the right. Freestanding picture gallery in the world. And coming up a little further up the road on the right hand side is an obelisk. You can already see it appearing through the trees. There's the Church of Peace, and this Church of Peace is where the Soldier King is buried at nowadays, sorry. You can get married there too, though. Yes, before you get married, get married. The things, sorry, Anna's just pointing at the Brandenburg Gate, and we're all getting terribly misled. Sorry. No, so, a lot of things over to the right are in fact 18th century, and if you'd like to look down the next street to the right, you will see rows of houses with sort of attic rooms that sort of protrude where the roofs are. Those are the so-called soldier rooms. Now the soldier safe, more about this in a second, but here to the right another former entrance into Potsdam, and that is the Hunter's Gate. Yes, of course, it was the parents' greatest ambition to keep these soldiers. Here to the right, the last of the remaining city gates. There is now a gate next to us to the right. And now you're in for a wonderful culture shock, because here to the right, these are the Dutch quarters. And this Soldier King had spent a lot of time as a youngster in Holland. And yes, these 2 gentlemen have waddled very quickly across the road, which is very advisable, because over here there is a lot of traffic. There you go. That is it. Babelsberg Palace, which was of course built by the Emperor as his residence. And just so that you know, Babelsberg, the name may ring a bell if you like good films.
Thundery over there, didn't it? Hand up.
And at the moment we have something we call big coalition. That means the SPD rules together with the CDU. Beautiful church to your right. To Berlin, here on the left. And you would find the same or the opposite to that in Frankfurt Airport, at Frankfurt Airport. Yeah? Because look, there it is. And if you didn't get it, it was too late. The Soviets gave in. That's quite nice. So sometimes I'm asked by guests from overseas if Germans wouldn't like Americans being swallowed by the Soviets. See the Pope's Revenge. Did Wouter mention that? Nickname of the television tower, the Pope's Revenge?
Yeah, something with...
Probably he did make. Son. The same August the Strong later becomes King of Poland and Duke of Lithuania. Shiny one here on the left, and he's not showing his back to the city of Dresden, but he is riding towards Warsaw, yeah, where he also finished his life. And when we turn to the right, we will come on a bridge. And once we are on the bridge, you want to look to your right hand side. And you want to look now. Yeah?
Ooh, yes, have a look at it.
11, they're still original. They, by the way, go direction of Czech Republic. Yeah, and the tower we see at the moment straight ahead of us, that is the main Catholic church, the Royal Church, which was built after August the Strong converted to Catholicism. And ahead of us, we can at the moment not drive because it's under renovations. Yeah, but you don't need to take pictures, we will get off anyhow soon.
Cortez was sailing to Mexico and bringing coconuts. Here, they had never seen. This was to look into your throat, if you call an infection, mixing your mixture, looking into the globe. And I see. I'm sorry, not all guys do it. In the 30 years war, the mining broke down. Because the hand. And going there, and for this beautiful piece, this box was made. Now you can see it has very complicated shots. This is a cooperation between the port and the nice porcelain manufacturer. You see the two types of porcelain. Of Augustus. I told you, or told my group, Augustus had a huge problem. His wife was Lutheran. She never wanted it looking like in the 18th century. Later this palace was used for royal festivities, and in the courtyard it was celebrated. Later it was taken over by a different company, Reemtsma, and then Warsaw, and also Canaletto, and so Canaletto died in Warsaw in 1780. Here you can also see a little bit how small the city was, the yellow building on your right.
Gary, would you like to have coffee and cake with
And the town that we're moving in doesn't have a whole lot of options for criminal justice, which is what I agree in. So since he's working in Madison, I have to.
The territory of Saxony was so large that Saxony in the 15th century was the largest state within the Holy Roman Wars, Schmalkalden War and the 30 Years War and so on. And the result of the Schmalkalden War was that Maurice they sold it after they needed money. Yeah, and then you can see the palace now in front of you. Augustus rebuilt. Yeah, you see the construction, 4 equally looking towers, and on the left you have the spire of the church, which once was Lutheran and now Catholic. Atop the little towers you have a Chinese dragon, that's referring to the porcelain, which Augustus liked so much. Here on the right-hand side is a stud farm. You could see already horses, and you will see some more. Moritzburg is a perfect place for getting married. Chapel again. Moritzburg has many special curiosities. One of the curiosities, so it was all around Chemnitz, famous places, Annaberg, Marienberg, and it has never been the porcelain palace. And on the left you're going to see the famous monument to Frederick Augustus. Immediately we will cross the bridge again and you can see a last time a farewell view to the optional tour. It was interesting for you. I thank you very much for your interest, for your attention, and further on I wish you an interesting continuation of your tour with Arne.
Solidarity, solidarity.
Du kommst nie weiter, dann kommst du runter an die Elbe.
Nein, was habe ich vergessen? Dankeschön. Es gab gerade eine junge Dame, die hat nochmal 2 € hier in unseren freiwilligen